Hello, this is Jeff Kelly, and I want to talk about a car wreck that took place recently. And my understanding is that one of the victims lost her leg, and that she was a cross country cross country high school coach and a runner, which is very near and dear to my heart because I ran cross country in high school and college um, up until I had an injury in my late 30s. So, I just feel for this person. I hate that this has happened. My understanding is that her one of her legs had to be amputated, and that she was pressed underneath a car or in the somehow they couldn't get her out for like 2 hours or something crazy like that. And I don't know if this is true or not, but my understanding is that the person that apparently there were multiple cars involved, and that one of the drivers might have been under the influence of meth. So, hypothetically, assuming that is true, I want to answer the question that sometimes comes up: is if that person who if a driver is under the influence of anything, meth, alcohol, anything like that, and they end up with a huge judgment from the damage that they caused, can they get out of it in a bankruptcy case? And the answer is no, you cannot. And the reason is because the bankruptcy code is crystal clear. That is a non dischargeable debt. So let me read the section to you. It's section 523A9. It's talking about, this type of debt is non dischargeable for the death or personal injury caused by the debtor's operation of a motor vehicle, vessel, or aircraft if such operation was unlawful because the debtor was intoxicated from using alcohol, a drug, or another substance. Um, Another topic I'd kind of like to cover here is car insurance. Encourage everyone, check your car insurance. Make sure your uninsurance motor vehicle is as high as you can afford it, because unfortunately Georgia requires a ridiculously low amount of insurance for people to be in compliance with the law. I think it's something like $25,000, and it ought to be like $250,000. And one of the reasons they don't increase that is they think it would make everybody's insurance go up, and I don't believe that. I think it would make the insurance go up for bad drivers, but not for good drivers. Because right now, if you are a good driver and you want to make sure you are covered, you have to pay extra for your insurance to cover the people who are too cheap to buy the correct amount of insurance. So make sure you have uninsured coverage. Make it as high as you can. You might want to consider getting what's called an umbrella policy uh, as well. And, make sure you talk to a good insurance agent, not somebody who's doing it on the side. They've got a full time job doing something else, and they're just kind of, trying to make a little extra money selling you car insurance. No, 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 no. This is your life at stake here, your family's at stake. Make sure you go to a good and reputable car insurance company so that you are adequately covered. Hopefully, our state representatives will get it together and protect the people by raising these amounts so that in horrible situations like this, people are covered. In the past, in my younger days, I was libertarian, and I thought, live and let live. If somebody wants to use whatever, I don't care as long as it doesn't affect me. And in my old age, I now realize it does affect me, and it affects everyone in our society. And like this poor person driving down the road, whammo, uh, allegedly, meth head came out of nowhere and has altered her life forever. It's not fair. And now I'm Attila the Hun. I think we should come down on people who use illegal drugs in the absolute hardest way that our Constitution will allow. They've got to be put in jail. We've got to put a stop to this kind of thing because it is such a tragedy. And if you have a vehicle and you have relatives that might have a drinking problem or might have a drug problem, do not let them drive your car. ever, ever, ever. Don't do it. Don't let them borrow it to run to the grocery store. Don't let them borrow it. Just don't. You want to give them your car and sign the title over to them? Okay, now you're not going to have liability. But if you knowingly let somebody who might be a threat to society drive the car, you could potentially be exposing yourself to some legal liability. Just don't do it. And for those of you who are in these horrible situations, I get it. People make mistakes. We're all human. I get it. But unfortunately, you're not going to be able to wipe a debt out if you've caused it by drunk driving or driving under the influence of any type of drug. If you're driving unlawfully, that's going to be the key in making your debt non-dischargeable. Now, what does that look like long term for somebody that's got a non-dischargeable debt hanging over their head? And by the way, criminal restitution is not dischargeable in bankruptcy either. It's treated the exact same way. But if there is a civil judgment against you, a lot of people will say, oh, just hold out for 6 years or 7 years, wait for it to expire, and then you're good to go. And that's not always true, because if it's a big fat judgment, that can be renewed for a very little amount of money, and you can keep that bad boy going. In theory, forever. You just have to keep paying your fees to renew it, and that judgment will not expire. So if the judgment doesn't expire and it's valid, that means they can clean out your checking account at any point if they can find it, or garnish your wages and take 25% of whatever it is that you make. So that is a rough spot. So long story short is, don't drive under the influence ever, ever, ever. If you know somebody who's about to drive under the influence, don't let it be your car. Try to as lawfully as you can to prevent them, because one bad car wreck can change everybody's life forever. Thank you for tuning in.